What is going on, Babylonians? My name is Songs of Rays and we're back with another Outriders video to bring to you. That's right, we're not ditching the game. We are still doing some Rogue Company stuff, but we'll always come back to Outriders because that's what this community has been made up of. And today we're actually going off a Twitter post that we put, and we only got 5 votes, granted. So, you know, it's not obviously a fair representation of the full community that plays Outriders, but out of the 5, we asked the question, what is the worst skill that you believe is in the game, and we put it as a poll, and we put it up for a whole week and just asked people just to be able to vote. By a narrow margin of 3 to 2, Boulderdash was voted the worst skill over Pain Launcher. Now don't get me wrong, I'm going to be looking at Pain Launcher, I'm going to find a way to be able to make that viable, I'm going to find a way to be able to make that useful, but I just thought, you know what, let's have a look at Boulderdash. It gets a bad rap. It's recently had a buff, but it's more for damage mitigation, and also it allows you to end it a bit earlier. So can we actually use it? Is there actually any practical use to Boulderdash that you could potentially use it over any other kind of like Devastator kind of skill or build? So I tasked myself, I found a way, I was able to get a CT15 gold. So that's my standard for knowing if a build is good or not. Obviously there are better ones, and obviously if you can get faster times, then obviously there are better builds. You know, there's obviously a tier marking inside of that, but if you can hit a gold CT15, you know you're onto a decent kind of build. It might not necessarily be able to do it across every single expedition, but you know, if you're looking for a way to be able to change up how you currently play, or you just want to give out a certain skill and think, is this possible? Could I get away with doing this? Then, you know, I would highly recommend that you just have a bit of an experiment, and that's what brought this video about. So let's show you the gameplay, let's get into the stats, let's get into the gear, and let's find out why it's, you know, not necessarily so good, but it is actually pretty good, and it's decent enough to be able to get you that CT15 gold that you're actually after. So if I was to say, what does this build excel at? Well, it's really good at just charging straight through a Perforo. It's really good at charging through a line of Perforos, which is why Colosseum is actually probably one of the better expeditions to do this build with. What it kind of falls down is any enemies that it can't take out in one shot, any kind of elites, it kind of struggles a little bit with that, and when that's why we've brought in the skills that we have done. So between the skills, we've got Boulderdash, which is obviously a standard. We've tried to put as much damage into that as possible. We've got Reflect Bullets, but we're not using it to reflect any kind of projectiles. I mean, it can do that, but that's not the reason we're doing it. We're activating it and then we're deactivating it straight away, and that gives us our extra anomaly power boost. So it just gives you a nice damage boost on top of it, so always activate this before you go into your Boulderdash. And lastly, we've gone for Endless Mass, one because this gathers all the enemies into a certain location and should make your Boulderdash a lot easier to be able to hit and connect with as many people as possible. But also on top of that, we've gone for the debuff variant, so it actually increases how much anomaly power damage you deal, and that should, in theory, kind of combine with the two to be able to make your splash do more damage, the amount of enemies that you hit take more damage, and they're just easier to be able to line up and hit it all in the same place. So in terms of synergy, I think this is the best way to go about it. You could always go with a golem, but in terms of, ever since Reflect Bullets had that massive buff to the fact that you can have up to 90% of its cooldown refreshed, and obviously you get your anomaly power boosted by 45% for 10 seconds when you activate the skill, it just kind of makes sense to use Reflect Bullets. You kind of get a miniature version of Golem when you activate Boulderdash anyway, so it's not like you've got to worry about damage mitigation there. In terms of survivability, in terms of the cooldowns, they're kind of on the short side. What I would do is use Endless Mass, obviously gather them all into a location. You then use your Boulderdash, charge straight into there, hit them. You normally have about 3 to 4 seconds to wait until your Endless Mass is back off charge, and then by that time your Boulderdash will also be off charge. So then I like to use my Reflect Bullets to hold it in front of me, and while you're holding Reflect Bullets, you can't be staggered. So you can't get knocked down, you can't get knocked away by like broodmothers or anything like that. You can literally just stand there and just keep pushing enemies back with your Reflect Bullets, and then once everything's come down off cooldowns, deactivate it. You've still got your anomaly power bonus from your skill tree, activate your Endless Mass, and then go in again with the Boulderdash as well. After you've done a Boulderdash, always follow up with another melee, and this feeds back into our skill tree, which you'll see in a second, and that allows you to have an extra resistance piercing as well as anomaly power boost ready for your next Boulderdash. So while we're here, let's have a quick look as to what the gear that we're currently running is. So, of course, because it's an anomaly build, and because we have difficulty dealing with elites, we have to go for a Moaning Winds and Fortress combo. So I've got that on both the Death Shield and the Anomoi. That's just standard, but that's purely just to help out when we're on cooldown, and just to be able to deal with the elites and just deal a massive amount of, like, just to chunk them off. So after that, we've then gone for a Martial set. So we've gone for a 3-piece this time. We've got the Marshal's helmet, and I've gone for Wide Horizons because I like to increase the skill radius and also remove that absorbent skin from the Perforos, which really does do my nut in. And this also works on Broodmothers as well, which is great. And then I've managed to change the other mod to Primal Weakness, so it permanently reduces resistance of all damaged enemies by 50%. This is in case you need to do a follow-up Boulderdash, or if you want to use your Moaning Winds, you've actually reduced their resistance to all your skills, all your kind of damage that you're going to be dealing with, and it just makes so much of a difference. And on top of with the debuff as well, it really does stack up, and you'll see Moaning Winds hit for quite a chunk every single time. We then go for the chest piece, so we've gone for high intensity, where anomaly damage against affected targets is increased by 33% for 5 seconds. This is the main reason why I wanted to go for this, but it's also kind of crucial if you do go for an Endless Mass kind of anomaly skill build. So you want to make sure you've got that. And then I've put Primal Chain on, so every enemy damaged by the skill increases damage by 10% for 3 seconds, and this stacks up to 5 times. So the idea is that you want to be able to charge yourself into a group of enemies. Make sure you actually run into them first before you activate the Stomp. Because obviously that's what's going to give you the extra bit of damage, but it's really nice and obviously pairs quite well with the anomaly damage as well. So we've gone for that, and then we've gone for the Waistcloth as well. So Power Assimilation is just standard, so we boost our anomaly power by 11,000 for each elite that's present on the battlefield. This just gives us a nice little bit of consistency and a little bit of damage boost as long as we've got elites that are on the field. And we've modded to Primal Knuckle Duster, where it increases the skill's damage by 106,617. This is pretty much standard. You want to go for these damage increasing mods if you're just going to be going for some kind of skill. So that's the one for Boulderdash, and that's the one that we've chose for that. I've then gone for a Gauntlets of the Cannonball, and the reason why is because I wanted to increase the damage that we do to elites, because we do struggle that much that we might as well boost up what we're actually able to do. You could go for the Martial Gloves, but really you're not going to be using Gravity Leap. The only place that you potentially could put Gravity Leap is if you're going to be doing another debuff, and you're going to be swapping out Reflect Bullets instead. So you could do that as an option if you so choose to, but I wanted to just show off Boulderdash to the fullest of extent, show that as the primary damage dealer, but just know that you can get away with doing Gravity Leap if that's how you so choose to. But I went for Gauntlets of the Cannonball, increase our damage to elites by 25%, and then Unstoppable Force, increasing our anomaly power by 50% of our resistance piercing. As standard, this is going to be a nice 15% boost to our anomaly power, which you'll see over here. And obviously that comes from our class tree, but we'll get into that in a second. And when you do a melee attack, you'll increase your anomaly power by 7.5% for each enemy that's hit. So because Boulderdash puts you within range of every single enemy as well, you then activate your Boulderdash, activate your melee, keep yourself alive for a little bit, waiting for the cooldown to go, and then go for another one. Because the extra anomaly power lasts for 10 seconds, you'll actually we've got the cooldown to around about 5 seconds on Boulderdash, so you'll actually benefit from that, and then obviously you just rinse and repeat over and over again, and you'll see your damage numbers kind of like spike on that. And then lastly, I've gone for a foot gear of the Cannonball. This is just purely for the fact that I didn't have any kind of good boots to be able to go with, so I went for all I wanted was cooldown reduction, skills life leech, and if I could get anomaly powered, then yes, obviously I want that. I've run out of shards to be able to get my cooldown reduction to 7.49%, so 6.25 is going to be the best I can do for the time being. But Primal Rage reduced the skills cooldown by 50%. If you're not doing a death proof kind of set with the reducing the cooldown of Boulderdash by 90%, then that's going to be your next best thing. So you want to make sure you reduce the cooldown as much as possible. This takes it down to around about 5 seconds if you've got the exact same stuff that I've got on. And lastly, I've gone for Phantom Dash, but that's because the other mod that was on the foot gear for the Cannonball was critical damage to elites, and you heal for 10% of that, and we're not going to be dealing critical hits, so therefore I might as well just have the utility of Phantom Dash. We'll look in a couple of seconds as to what mods you can replace that for if you do find another set of boots that you can swap out, and then yeah, that's basically the build. It kind of goes all the way into Boulderdash, and it just gives you everything you kind of need. If we look at the skills, so you'll see that Boulderdash, it's 5.1 seconds, so around about there. But obviously that's our main skill that we're going to be using, that's our primary damage dealer, and it does protect us for 65% of damage that's going to be coming in while we activate the skill and we start charging. Reflect bullets, it says 11.9 seconds cooldown. Don't need to worry about that because what you'll see is if the skill is ended prematurely, cooldown will be reduced by up to 90%, and that's going to be the main reason we're going to be able to take some of our stuff back. And then the Endless Mass is a 9.3 second cooldown. I couldn't get it much lower than that. Obviously I can do if I go back onto my boots, for example, and get that up to 7.49, but it's not going to come down by a massive amount, so it's around about 9 seconds each time, and then obviously that's just primarily just to pull people in. If we look at the class tree, so we've gone for primarily a bottom tree, but we don't need the capstone because that only affects Earthquake, Impale, and the ability to Tremor, if I remember right. And we're not going to be using those skills, so there's no point going all the way to there. The only reason why we've gone all the way here is because we want to increase our resistance piercing by 15%, and then that feeds back into our Unstoppable Force to be able to give us another nice 7.5% extra damage. So we've gone for that. All that kind of thing. So Skill Sentry. I've gone for Protected by the Anomaly so that we could... If we do go against humanoid enemies, we can actually take so many more bullets because our armor is just going to be that much better. Skills, Life Leech, Anomaly Power, increase damage to enemies below 30% health, increase Anomaly Power 6%, Bleed, just because we're not going to be using the Seismic skills for our cooldowns, so that's why we've gone for that. You can grab a couple of cooldowns for kinetic skills. Paladin is going to be the main thing for why we use Reflect Bullets, because obviously that's the way we're going to get a nice 45% bonus to our Anomaly Power, and that's going to give us a nice damage boost to our Boulderdash. And then obviously reduce cooldown. Strong Armor the Anomaly is such a good mod, or such a good class kind of like skill tree to be able to pick up. So after using your melee skill, increase your resistance piercing by 15% for each enemy hit for 10 seconds, and of course every single enemy that you hit, that 15% then gets cut in half and then gets fed back into Anomaly Power because of that Unstoppable Force. And then we've gone all the way up here, so to be able to get another cooldown for Endless Mass and for Boulderdash. And Into the Fray is kind of underrated, I suppose, because it does increase your damage mitigation by 15% after you use your Boulderdash, so you'll be taking less damage after you've used your skill, so that helps to keep you alive, because obviously we're charging into battle, we're charging headfirst into things, we might as well be taking less damage for it, so that's kind of a nice thing to be able to have, and obviously working with Endless Mass, I suppose on top of that it just kind of really works. So that's pretty much wraps it up. Let's have a look into what mods you can actually go for that last one, that last slot. So the only other mods that I would suggest putting on this build is, I'm going to put it down to three main candidates, and it just kind of depends on how you want to play. So the first one is the tier 3 mod of Tainted Blood, where you can increase the damage dealt to enemies afflicted by bleed with 25%. It's always a good suggestion to have for any kind of devastator, mainly because even if you don't rely on the fact your earthquakes or any of your other skills inflict bleed, you can also do it via your melee. So the fact that we're going to be charging our way into battle, we're going to probably face an elite right in front of us, so we can do our melee, inflict bleed, and then any kind of like Moaning Winds or any subsequent skills can then inflict an extra 25% damage. The second one that we got for is to kind of really start off the combo, which is Mosh Pit for Endless Mass, and what this does is it inflicts vulnerable on enemies pulled in by the skill. So I believe this applies an extra 15% damage multiplier to enemies, so if you don't fancy relying on your melee to inflict bleed for your Tainted Blood, then you can just use this, the Endless Mass, and just inflict vulnerable on a wide array of enemies. But alternatively, if you're looking for more of a defensive kind of mod, then I would highly recommend Primal Armor, where it doubles your armor when the skill ends for 7 seconds after using Boulderdash. Now, Boulderdash, because it's on a 5.1 second cooldown, means that the more times that you use the skill, the more times your armor is just going to stay constantly doubled, and that just should, in theory, make you an unkillable tank. But you know, that's going to be your defensive option rather than your offensive option. So there's 3 good choices there. It's up to you to be able to decide which one of those 3 kind of fits your playstyle. So there you have it, that's the build that I've brought to you, and that does technically mean that Boulderdash can be viable in a CT15 gold standard. Obviously you could potentially give it a go with Seismic, but I do feel like the debuffing and the anomaly, extra kind of like multipliers, and the fact that Endless Mass brings all the enemies together, I do feel that's the way to go. So if you have any other kind of suggestions as to how you want me to try this, by all means, drop me a message or a comment down in the comment section down below. But yeah, one, it is capable of doing CT15 gold. I don't necessarily think it's the best way to do it, and I think you're going to have a lot better time with any other build that we've done on the channel so far. So it can be a bit of a fun mix-up, but just take it with a pinch of salt. Don't go out there and just try and build your way towards this, because for this current state of the skill, it's just not worth it, and you will end up having a bit of a miserable time going back and forth between gold and silver kind of times. So that covers for the Boulderdash skill, and that's what was voted the worst skill out in Outriders currently. I will now start looking into the second worst skill which was voted, which was the Rocket Pod, which was Pain Launcher for the Technomancer. And I'm going to find a way to be able to get that to a decent standard. Maybe I'm going to try and push it for a CT15 gold, similar to like what I did with Boulderdash, but there is every chance that it's probably only going to be silver worthy because of the cooldown that it has compared to the mods that you can get for Boulderdash. So give me a week or so, I'll have put some thoughts into it. I'll see if any kind of patches come its way. I don't think anything's been mentioned so far in regards to the patch notes that we've had from the developers, so I will find a way to get it to work. I'll find a way to be able to get it to a gold standard if I can, and if I can't, I will let you know. But as always, hope you've enjoyed. If you have, drop us a like, drop us a subscribe, it really would mean the world to us. There is a join button down there to be able to become part of the Babylonian family, and be able to become a member to be able to get yourself some exclusive perks over in our Discord as well, and to be able to see some of our content before it goes live. Just a massive shout out to the people that are already become members over on our YouTube, and you're going to get to see their names coming up right now for you. So as always, keep yourself safe, keep yourself well, and I'll see you all on that next video.